Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Samadhim bhikkhave bhaveta samahito bhikkhave bhikkhu yatha putang pajanati iti. Dear Venerable Brother, Dhamma friends, basically we were discussing one interesting sutta for several months that was called Upadana Parivatta Sutta, which is talking about the 4 phases of clinging aggregates. So what are the clinging aggregates? So there are 5 clinging aggregates. The Rupakkhandha or Rupa Upadanakkhandha, the form clinging aggregate. And then the Vedana Upadanakkhandha, the feelings clinging aggregate. Then the Sanya Upadanakkhandha, the perceptions clinging aggregate. Sankhara Upadanakkhandha, the formations clinging aggregate. And then the Vijnana Upadanakkhandha, the consciousness clinging aggregate. So you are quite familiar with them. And where are they? So they are everywhere, we can say, including myself, including everybody. So all the experiences that we go through, so we can simply categorize into these 5 clinging aggregates. So when practicing Anapanasati, when practicing elements meditation, when practicing typically about the dissecting of the body and maybe the several phases of decaying corpse, all these things are in a way to recognize, to understand the form aggregate. First we start with our body, and then slowly we can expand into the external sides as well, so that thoroughly we are trying to understand the form aggregate. Then we do a lot of practices with respect to the feelings, maybe pains, aches, or the pleasurable feelings, happiness, sorrow, that comes to the mental side. So the feeling side are covered particularly in the Vedananupassana, the mindfulness, establishment of mindfulness in the feelings. So where we are trying to understand thoroughly about the feelings. And when we are practicing Chittanupassana, say you are trying to recognize certain amount of thoughts. Currently, what is the thought going on? Is it a lustful thought? Is it a kind of hateful thoughts? Certain ill will, maybe jealousy, maybe restlessness. So likewise, different mental states when one is trying to recognize. So you are exploring about your mind. So there we can say at one level we are understanding the consciousness. At another level we can say we are understanding various perceptions, signs, and sometimes the thoughts, the mental formations. And on the other hand, further, when we are developing Dhammanupassana, so we are revisiting each and every aggregate. Say for example, in the Khandha Pabbha of the Dhammanupassana section, so all the 5 aggregates are further revisited, further considered. So that means the presence of each aggregate is further analyzed, recognized in a more subtle way. So thorough understanding about the aggregates are being done. So the understanding, the knowledge about aggregates is quite important. The mechanism, the methodology to understand them practically is through the mindfulness meditation or the establishment of mindfulness. The 4 Satipatthanas are the methodology. That's the practical approach that one is taking in order to understand the 5 aggregates. Now, so in the sutta that we already discussed several months, Upadana Parivatta Sutta, where Buddha mentioned that he only declared himself as the Samma Sambuddha only when he had thorough understanding about all these 5 clinging aggregates. And not only that, he had the 4 phases of each aggregate. So what are those 4 phases? Per each aggregate, he is telling Rupang abbanyasing, rupa samudayang abbanyasing, rupa nirodhang abbanyasing, rupa nirodhagamini patipadang abbanyasing. That means he know directly exactly what is the form aggregate. He know directly exactly what is the cause of form aggregate and what is the cessation of clinging aggregate, the form aggregate, and what is the path leading to the cessation of this form clinging aggregate. And then how about the feeling aggregate? Same pattern, right? So he knows about the feeling aggregate, the presence of the feeling aggregate, currently what is the presence of the feeling aggregate, and then what is the cause of the feeling aggregate, what is the cessation of the feeling aggregate, and what is the path leading to the cessation of feeling aggregate. Then you can understand similar fashion, similar pattern into the perceptions aggregate, formations aggregate, and the consciousness aggregate. So that means per each aggregate Buddha is declaring 4 kinds of phases, 4 kinds of aspects. So all that indicates kind of a thorough understanding. And basically, so understanding them theoretically important at the beginning, and at the same time later, maybe during your meditation, so the presence of the form aggregate has to be recognized within ourselves. Presence of the feelings we have to recognize within ourselves. Presence of the perceptions, sanya, marks, signs, have to recognize within our mind. And then thoughts, emotions, has to recognize within ourselves, and how our senses are operating, and accordingly how cognition happens per each and every senses has to know within ourselves. So very much like you can understand, so we are coming back to ourselves. It's a kind of an introvert practice. So we are understanding more about ourselves, how this being operates, how am I, so how am I feeling right now. So it is not something outside, rather now you are coming to your side. And on the other hand, this present sutta, which I am taking today, is talking another aspect of the aggregates, looking at from another angle. So this is called Samadhi Bhavana Sutta. So the Samadhi Bhavana Sutta actually again comes under the Kanda Sangyutta, and there Buddha emphasized the importance of the concentration. Samadhing bhikkhave bhaveta samahito bhikkhave bhikkhu yathabhutam pajanati. So Buddha invites, sort of emphasize the importance of the concentration. He says, Samadhing bhikkhave bhaveta. Monks, you got to develop concentration. And once you develop concentration, samahito bhikkhave yathabhutang pajanati. So then only you can know the things as they truly are. If not, you can't. That means, if your mind is scattered, completely confused, then that means you can't thoroughly know the reality. And then Buddha asks, Kincha yathabhutam pajanati. What does one going to understand? What are the areas that you need to understand? Are we going to understand about the mass? Like today, are we going to understand about the moon? Shall we send a satellite or something to understand? Is it what Buddha is asking? So what are you going to really understand? Kincha yatha bhutam pajanati. So what is the area? What is the field of your experiment? Rupassa samudayancha attagamancha. So Buddha emphasized, okay, now you need to know exactly this origin and the passing away of the form aggregate. Vedanaya samudayancha attagamancha. Origin and the passing away of the feeling aggregate. Sanyaya samudayancha attagamancha. You need to know the arising, the origin of the perceptions and their cessation and their passing away. And sankharanang samudayancha attagamancha. So there are the formations, mental formations. There you need to understand their origin and their passing away. Viññānassa samudayancha attagamancha. So with respect to the consciousness aggregate, again you need to know the origin and the passing away. So now again the Buddha has come back to the aggregates. So he is inviting you need to develop concentration. By developing concentration, you can know the reality. So knowing reality means you need to know the reality of these 5 aggregates. Again coming back to the aggregates. Now when we are talking here, now the term samudaya, attagama is repeated here. To each and every aggregate, samudayancha attagamancha, samudayanta acchagamanta. That means origin, then the passing away. And the definition given for this samudaya and attagama, and the definition given for samudaya and attagama in the previous sutta, what we call that upadana parivatta sutta, are different. That's what the important thing that we need to highlight here. So in one sense, in the Upadana Parivatta Sutta, the 4 phases of clinging aggregates, Buddha talks about recognizing each and every aggregate thoroughly, and that is very much like you do Satipatthana practice and you are recognizing. And here, very much like you are coming to another level and understanding their clinging nature. This is the present sutta. Understanding how clinging happens to each and every aggregate. So previously it is very much like you are trying to keep them aside and, do a little bit of thorough examination, investigation, and properly understand their true nature, arising and passing away and all that stuff. And today we are going to talk, even though we have that some understanding, still the clinging is possible. And now you are looking at how mind is clinging to each and every aggregate. As a result of that, now Buddha is talking about a different definition of samudaya and attagama. Now he is telling, kocha bhikkhave rupassa samudayo, kocha vedanaya samudayo, kocha sanyaya samudayo, kocha sankharana samudayo, kocha viññānassa samudayo. What is the origin of form? What is the origin of feelings? What is the origin of perceptions? What is the origin of formations? And what is the origin of consciousness? Ida bhikkhave bhikkhu abhinandati abhivadati ajjosaya tittati. So that is the origin. So that's a entirely different perspective now Buddha is highlighting. Ida bhikkhave bhikkhu abhinandati abhivadati ajjosaya tittati. So that is the samudaya side. So that means abhinandati. So he seeks delight. Abhivatati. He welcomes. Ajjosaya tittati. So he remains there. He adhere to it. So that is the ajjosaya tittati. Now, from your faces, I feel like you're confused. But unfortunately, this is what we are doing. Even the confusion is abhivadati, abhinandati, abhivadati, ajjosaya tittati. So when our mind is confused, that indicates we are attached to something. We are adhering to something. Mind is not released. Mind is not freed. So the moment mind is stressed, the moment mind is, burdened, you feeling burdened, that means somewhere abhinandati, abhivadati, ajjosaya tittati. So my personal view here is that the previous one, that means that Upadana Parivatta Sutta, where Buddha talks about the 4 phases, so that is somewhat theoretical understanding, plus that you do thorough analysis of each and every aggregate, not that theoretically, but through penetrative wisdom, you do that analysis, Satipatthana practice. And that happens at one level. And now today we are talking at another level. So my personal view here is that, with respect to enlightenment factors also, Buddha have 2 different approaches. The first approach is very much like linear development. And once you reach another level, it is very much like you are operating at a different level. Say for example, if you refer Anapanasati Sutta, so Buddha first talks about as we just discussed during the discussion, about the 16 steps. First steps, how to develop Kayanupassana. The second 4 steps, how to develop Vedananupassana. Third 4 steps, how to develop Chittanupassana. Last 4 steps, how to develop Dhammanupassana. And there Buddha mentioned, by developing this way, you are developing 7 enlightenment factors. So how are you going to develop 7 enlightenment factors? Now, say for example, we are developing mindfulness. So as you develop mindfulness, at the beginning it is difficult, but slowly you are building up, you are progressing, and you may reach to a state, okay, I have fair amount of mindfulness now. You may understand its presence. This particular activity I have done mindfully. In the morning I have done this particular activity mindfully. Next activity also mindful. Next activity also mindful. So likewise, almost all the activities now you are capable of doing mindfully. So it's a kind of a deliberate maintenance of mindfulness. You are reminding yourself again and again. You are training yourself again and again to be mindful, to be mindful, to be mindful. Because otherwise you forget, otherwise you very much like scattered, confused. So you are trying to purposely maintain mindfulness. So fairly you are going to be successful. And that is the beginning of the what? Mindfulness enlightenment factor. Sati Sambojjhanga. Where you come to a unwavering kind of mindfulness. So that is the beginning of mindfulness enlightenment factor. So don't think that is the beginning of the whole mindfulness practice, but you have practiced to a certain level, there you start the enlightenment factor. It is not where you start. You start with mere bare attention. Bare attention, have you heard about the term bare attention? Sati matre. That means a mere little mindfulness. Say while in-breath happens, you are simply being mindful. Again your mind get distracted. After say several seconds or minutes, again another breath happens, you are being mindful. So you are just igniting the thing, kindling the thing. So just be mindful, time to time. So that is how we start. Say while walking, okay, time to time I can establish mindfulness on my steps. There are occasions I am completely distracted. But there are occasions I can be mindful. So this is how we start. And later, say, you can be mindful continuously to some extent. Say 5 breaths, continuously mindful. 10 breaths, continuously mindful. 50 breaths, continuously mindful. Say 5 steps, you can be continuously mindful. Maybe 10 steps, you can be continuously mindful. Say 50 steps, you can be continuously mindful. So that means there's a kind of a progress. And then you understand the presence of mindfulness. There's something called mindfulness. Sati. So you understand it as a mental capacity, kind of a skill, a quality in your mind. Okay, every time now I can be mindful. Better I apply that to eating. Better I apply while I am, say, brushing teeth. Better I apply it doing my dishes, course. So likewise now you are spreading mindfulness. Now you recognize it as a quality. It is not kind of a seldom activity, but now you are living with it. And you know, now I have a good mindfulness today. Yesterday it's not that good. So likewise you have recognized its presence, or its when it is quite strong and when it is quite weak. So that means there are days, there are times that mindfulness is fairly governing the mind. So mindfulness is fairly undertaken the mind. You are in the full alert, quite mindful, continuously mindful, very alert, quite wakeful. So that is where as a mindfulness, so the mind has become thoroughly mindful. So we talk that level as the faculty of mindfulness. Sati Indriya. So previously we are just mindful, bare attention, merely mindful, time to time. But now we are sharp mindfulness is there, what we call as Sati Indriya. So you know exactly, today I am quite mindful, very sharp, Everything happened smoothly. Every action I was mindful. That's it. Then you are getting confident about it now. Okay, you have developed mindfulness, quite confident. And even mind distract, you are not too much worried about it. Because you know your own methods how to establish mindfulness. You have your own hands-on experience. And very quickly you can return back to mindfulness. So you have a lot of confidence now. So that is where we call sati bala, the power of mindfulness. Pamade na kampatiti sati balang. Where you are not wavering or you are not being agitated when mind is not mindful. Because you know how quickly I can establish mindfulness. So you are quite confident about your own self, about your own practice. So you know methods how to establish mindfulness. Quickly I can establish mindfulness. So you are not that worried, even when mind get distracted. Now still we are on the power of mindfulness. So where are the bojjhangas? The next stage. So you can see the development happens. I have just taken the example of mindfulness. So it started with very little bare attention. Then it reached another level. Say you are developing to various activities, daily activities, sitting mindful sitting, mindful walking. So slowly you are developing, progressing. Then it comes to a level, so you recognize it as a skill, quality happening available in your mind. And now you understand, okay, certain days I'm pretty mindful, very sharp. So the faculty of mindfulness. And then you become quite confident about it. You come to the power of mindfulness. So then kind of a turning point happened in your practice. Now you want to practice mindfulness, aiming enlightenment, aiming nibbana, overcoming defilements and cooling down the mind, relaxing the mind and aiming nibbana, nothing else. So mindfulness in that sense you can use various other purposes. Now in the West they are teaching mindfulness to soldiers. For what? So teaching mindfulness to business administrators. So many activities. So say you can use mindfulness. So we can't say every activity is wholesome in that sense. But when mindfulness is coupled with sampajanya, wisdom, clear comprehension, slowly it turns towards the wholesome side. So now you are restraining yourself. You are having certain amount of vigilance, your certain amount of ethics are there. So you are careful about your actions. You are not allowing yourself to simply get, say, doing wrong activities. You are quite careful about what are the things that you do through your body, through the speech, through your mind. So you are starting slowly a purification process. It is not mere mindfulness now. Now mindfulness has coupled with the clear comprehension, slowly growing. And when you come to the enlightenment factors level, bojjhanga level, you decided, okay, I am now developing mindfulness aiming nibbana, nothing else. So you can mindful while eating, while say all these things, but you are using that even aiming nibbana. So what is nibbana? Maybe we can say for the time being, abandoning of all defilements, ragakkayo, dosakkayo, mohakkayo. So that means you are concerned about the purity of the mind, really, the purification of the mind, abandoning all the defilements. And further, now Buddha mentioned, okay, when you come to that continuous, very attentive and aiming nibbana, so there you start the enlightenment factor of mindfulness, sati sambojjhanga. And then with that aim, you do clear analysis of various phenomena. Say you practice dhatu manasikara, elements meditation. So you are recognizing each and every subtle aspects of elements. So you are practicing Vedananupassana. You are recognizing subtle aspects of feelings, how they are arising and passing, how they are changing, and that subtle aspects. So that investigation part. So what is investigation? That is the second enlightenment factor, Dhamma Vicaya Sambojjhanga. So when you have thorough, careful attention, the mindfulness, then you can start careful analysis or careful investigation. So you are developing the second enlightenment factor, the Dhamma Vicaya Sambojjhanga. But you can't do it without effort, because these things are not really interesting stuff. Unlike, say, you are nowadays, the cricket series is going on, so you don't need much effort to look at it, right? You can simply keep it for hours, you can look at it. No need to be effortful to do that. Do you need a lot of effort to watch a movie? Do you need a lot of effort to watch a cricket match? Do you need? No need. We are being simply carried away by that. We are fully in it. We are fully enjoying it. You don't need a purposeful attention to do that. You are totally taken by that. But these activities, what we are talking, the development of the enlightenment factors, you need purposeful effort. So mind says, I can't do it, it's quite boring, it's difficult, I can't see them properly. So mind get distracted, you want to get up, you want to leave the retreat. So again and again you need to remind your mind, oh, don't worry, next day it may be all right, so please just be careful, just be, be patient, just continue. You can be a Sotapanna next week. Somehow you are, say, motivating yourself, encouraging yourself, lifting up yourself, so that continuous effort is required. So now you are developing effort, enlightenment factor, the Virya Sambojjhanga. Because the task is difficult. So what you are investigating is not that interesting. Unlike a film or unlike a musical show or unlike a cricket match. So these are very subtle phenomena happening within your body. Very difficult. So you need a lot of effort to do that. And say, assume now things are quite satisfied. Now mind learned how to do it carefully. Now you come to a level, okay, now mind understood by itself, doing practically, and you don't need much effort. Mind has trained to do that. You sit, you know how to develop mindfulness, you know how to investigate. Now the things are happening, you are observing each and every factor thoroughly, subtle aspects, maybe feelings, maybe thoughts, maybe bodily activities, whatever it is, bodily phenomena. So your task is accomplished. You are happy. So you are developing Piti Sambojjhanga. Because you are successful in your Vipassana meditation to some extent, you see the Piti Sambojjhanga, the rapture enlightenment factor. Because your task is fairly successful now, you don't need to struggle like before. Now things are well aligned. You have a little bit of training now. Your mind is trained. So the Piti Sambojjhanga is there. Now you are further continuing. It's become further matured. Now it turns into kind of happiness. Say bodily calm, your mind is also calm, quite composed, happy. So you are now coming to the Passadhi Sambojjhanga. So your body is relaxing and very cool, and still the continuation is going on. So everything is fine. Now when the body and the mind is relaxing or feeling comfortable, happy, automatically mind concentrates. So you are coming to the Samadhi Sambojjhanga, the concentration enlightenment factor. And later, so when everything is aligned, everything's happened perfectly, what are you going to do? Nothing. You simply allow the mind to undertake the task. You simply take the back seat, allow the driver to walk. Path is clear. Google has indicated you are in the proper path. 7 more miles to go. Take your back seat, just relax. Equanimity Bojjhanga. Equanimity enlightenment factor, Upekka Sambojjhanga. So you can see the linearity here, right? Step by step you are developing the enlightenment factors. So I hope that you understood that kind of a linear, the development of the enlightenment factors. Now, Buddha say, after you reaching another level, so this is not the way to develop enlightenment factors. Entirely different approach now you have to take. Particularly, say you are developing this way for some time and you reached a level where you can keep your mind without any attachment. Say you are practicing Kayanupassana, you are practicing Vedananupassana, you are practicing Chittanupassana, whatever it is. So what is the end result? Say like this. You know the scaffolding? Say you have to build a house. So you hire a contractor. Nowadays we are looking at a contractor to build some Dhanasala and Aswattha. So assume that you got a good contractor. So you hand over the job. So is he immediately build all the floors? Assume that you have to build a five floor building. Can he immediately build all the floors? Say he's putting a strong foundation. So that is very much like the sealer. Then, in order to construct the upper floors, what is he using? Scaffolding. Have you heard about the scaffolding? I think I am using the correct term, right? Scaffolding. Now he prepare all the, maybe it's a metal scaffolding or that maybe wooden one, whatever it is. So he bind things and nut and screws and all things. Now people are working in the scaffolding. And now everything's done. You have put the slab and the walls are done and the roof is done. Say the structure is well done, roof is also done, the building is constructed. Now you as the owner, contractor inform you, so and so our job is done, please come and inspect. So you are inspecting. Now the scaffolding and this building is still available. Now where are you going to reside? Where are you going to stay? Building. How about in the scaffolding? So, which helped you to develop the building? Scaffolding helped you to develop the building, to construct the building. But where are you going to stay? In the building. Say you develop Satipatthana. And then you achieve unattached mind. So the result is unattached mind. So where are you going to stay? What is scaffolding and what is unattached mind? Or what is the building? What is the scaffolding? Is the Satipatthana or the unattached mind? Or is the building Satipatthana or the building unattached mind? So the scaffolding is the Satipatthana. Unattached mind is the building. So through the Satipatthana you are developing unattached mind. So your mind is now capable of living alone, maintaining freedom, maintaining independence. So don't go back to scaffolding. So now live in the freedom. So while in the freedom, now it is not the linear way of development, enlightenment factors. Now you have to come to a different area. That's the point I want to highlight. So basically, while you are practicing Satipatthana systematically, so you are very much like linear development of the enlightenment factors. So ultimate result is what? Freedom. Keeping the mind unattached, keeping the mind released, keeping the mind independent. Are you done? Are you an arahant? No. So, next stage. Now Buddha explained how to develop 7 enlightenment factors in order to achieve Vijja Vimutti. So please refer Anapanasati Sutta. So these things are well defined, well explained. So that is the second stage or the second way of developing enlightenment factors. that means you have achieved something. You have achieved this unattached mind. So you are in a different level now, and you are trying to maintain that. But don't think you are perfect. Again you collapse. Again you collapse. Again you attach. Again you grasp things, cling to things. Again becoming all the mass of suffering. Again and again you are experiencing. Why? Defilements are there. Influxes are there. Latent tendencies are there. But important thing is, time to time you can live in the house. You can live in the building, not on the scaffolding. Again you need scaffolding, but you can live in the building. So while living in the building, now you have to develop enlightenment factors in a different way. Sati sambojjhangam bhaveti viveka nisitang, viraga nisitang, nirodha nisitang, vassagga parinaming. Dhammavicaya sambojjhangam bhaveti viveka nisitang, viraga nisitang, nirodha nisitang, vassagga parinaming. Virya sambojjhangam bhaveti viveka nisitang, viraga nisitang, nirodha nisitang, vassagga parinaming. So likewise Buddha explained all 7 factors, but entirely a different approach. So now very much like you are aiming Nibbana, aiming freedom, vassagga parinaming. You are aiming freedom. Every time you accomplish freedom, whatever the practice you do, end result is freedom of the mind, unattached state of the mind. So Sati sambojjhanga bhavati viveka nisitang. So you are now in a relaxed mood. You are not in the doing mood now. You are in the being mode. Previously we were in the doing mode. Now we have to in the being mode. Just relax, just be. Doing what? Doing nothing. If you are in the building. So remember. So you need to see. If you are in the building, you have to do nothing. Already there, no? But if you are in the scaffolding, still development. Development is there. But end result is coming back to the building, living in the building, freedom. So viveka nisitang. So always very much like, already if you are in the building, already if you are in the freedom, just relax, calm down, let things happen naturally. You have nothing much to do, take a rest. Viraga nisitang. Say all the other things are dispassionate. You are not much interested about engaging yourself and attaching to yourself. Sounds are there, smells are there, tastes are there, sights are there. Not much interested. You can see, but mind is not attached. You can hear, mind is not attached. You can smell, mind is not attached. You can taste, mind is not attached. You can contact, mind is not attached. Thoughts are also coming. Mind remains calm, taking a rest. Not involved. Nirodha nisitang. Say, you are in the cessation. Mind has stopped. No craving. Mind is cool, calm, relaxed. Vassagga parinaming. So every time accomplishing freedom. Mind has its freedom. Now this method of developing bojjhangas, enlightenment factors, and previous systematic linear method of developing bojjhangas are quite different. Now the second method will takes you to vijja and vimutti. That means thorough understanding and the freedom. Very much like we are getting closer to Nibbana in that sense. So where the understanding is there, that understanding always takes you to the freedom, getting more closer to the Nibbana in another terms, and reducing various defilements. So more you are reducing craving, more closer you are to the Nibbana. Tanhakkayo Nibbana. So if you are able to completely overcome craving, where are you? You are already attained Nibbana. So that is very same. That means tanhakkayo Nibbanang. That means if all the defilements are abandoned, uprooted, nothing else to do, you are in the Nibbana. But there is a path you still need to continue, develop. So that is the path, the second level of development of the enlightenment factors. Why I mention all this stuff to you is to indicate that here also you can see the first stage is very much like you are doing a little bit of task. So you are practicing, you have to do it. It's a practical involvement of your meditation. So you are practicing Kayanupassana, you are practicing Vedananupassana, you are practicing Chittanupassana, you are practicing Dhammanupassana. Something to do, practically do it. Later, second stage, it's a subtle development, subtle maintenance, subtle just being. But you are switching to a different level. But still, you need to continue that also. Don't think that you are done. Still, you need to continue carefully. Now, same thing I have to repeat here with respect to these two suttas. The first sutta that we already discussed, what we call Upadana Parivatta Sutta, is very much like that linear development of the Bojjhangas, where you are thoroughly analyzing each and every aggregate. What are their causes and how they are arising, how they are changing. So kind of a thorough analysis of all 5 aggregates. But today what we are taking is very much like the second level, where Kocha Bhikkhave Rupasa Samudayo, Kocha Vedanaya Samudayo. So Buddha is asking, so what is this origin of forms, what is this origin of feelings? So likewise he is asking, there Buddha mentioned as an answer, Ida Bhikkhave Bhikkhu Abhinandati, Abhivadati, Ajjosaya Tittati. Rupang Abhinandati, Abhivadati, Ajjosaya Tittati. So there's a continuation of in that path. So that is how the samudaya is happening. That is how the accumulation is happening. That is how you are further propagating the aggregates. That is very much like you are further coming to the suffering. And the opposite is there, what we call the Attangama, that is you do the opposite side of it. So very much like, say, for example, you are able to maintain your mind unattached. You are in a freed state, you are in the building. But time to time you probably understand, okay, mind go and attach to something. Mind finds delight in it. And mind welcomes that. And mind wants to get adhered to that. Again, so you are upadana. You are fully attached to that. It is not that you analyze form aggregate, isn't it? It is not that you are trying to recognize how arising and passing away of an aggregate. It is not that you recognize what is this hardness, softness, roughness, smoothness, say heaviness, lightness. It is not that. But in your mind, how this attachment happens. How your mind delights in being with the form. How your mind welcomes that attachment. And how sometimes you go and fully in it, locked in it, adhere to it. So you are now operating at a different level, a different way of looking at it. Say for example, you have seen a beautiful image, very beautiful scenery, a very beautiful picture. You take the same example, the cricket match. It's very enthusiastic, even though Sri Lanka is getting defeated. So it's quite thrilling. So you want to see it. So you find delight in it. Abhinandati. So you are being excited about it. To hear the news, cricket news. So you have your whatever the mechanisms to know each and every update, and you are welcoming it. Say one of your friend is sending you the latest update. Today this fellow has scored this much. So you are so busy you can't fully involve in the in the match, but your friend is going through the whole thing. Time to time he is sending you the update. So you really welcome it. But once you get a chance, you are also looking at it, you are immersed in it. Abhinandati, abhivadati, ajjosaya tittati. So you are there. You are in that ground. Even though your body is in your home in Sri Lanka, but your mind is in Hyderabad. Am I correct? Then you are adhered to it. That is what we call as this ajjosaya tittati. From your body you are in Sri Lanka, but mind has gone to there, fully entertaining the match, fully entertaining your cricket match. That is not that you are recognizing the hardness, softness. It is not that. It's a different approach. You can see how your mind has operated in that way, how mind has shifted there. And so Buddha mentioned here this causal reaction, how step by step process has happened, how this clinging has happened. So Buddha mentioned, Rupang abhinandati, abhivadati, ajjosaya tittati. So you are seeking delight in form aggregate, then you are welcoming it, you are remaining holding it, you are adhering to it. What's the result? Tassa rupang abhinandato, abhivadato, ajjosaya tittato, uppajjati nandit. That means you arise delight, you are quite happy, you are thrilled, you are, when he hits the sixer, you jump. Only just 2 balls, 4 runs to make, he hits the sixer, wow! That means arise delight. And then, Yarupe Nandi Tang Upadanang. When that delight is there, you are holding it. You are there. Tang Upadanang. Tassa Upadana Pacchaya Bahu. So, you have become a cricket spectator. You are not here. You have no mindfulness. Don't talk about mindfulness now. You are fully immersed there. You don't know you are on a chair, but you are there. You are in Hyderabad. I think still they are there. Anyway, hope you are not there. You are here, Kalalgoda. Tassa upadana pacchaya bhava. That means you are completely there. You have become that. You are no more so and so. You are completely a different person now. You are in a cricket world. You are a complete, I don't know what's the term, frantic, something, of the cricket. Fully immersed in cricket. Bhava pacchaya jati. You are born in that, you are born into that experience, but unfortunately, jati pacchaya jara marana soka parideva dukkha domanassa upayasa sambhavanti. Next ball, he was gone. Collapse. So, oh my goodness, I am in Sri Lanka. I am on my chair because he missed the ball, hit the wicket. So you come back to here. Jara marana soka parideva dukkha domanassa sambhavanti, because it's not permanent. You can't expect. Even though they hit, I think, 346, still Pakistan won. I hope I am correct. I have the correct figures. You see, you can't believe, you can't trust. Quite impermanent, beyond your control, beyond your expectations. So you can't depend on this happiness, basically. Even though we are trying to derive happiness from these kind of worldly affairs, you can't have permanent happiness. So ultimately you end up with suffering. You collapse, you heartbreak. Some people, really heartbreak, they have to taken to the hospital. There are many spectators, real cricket lovers, when the team, defeated, they can't hope it, they can't bear it. Even have to go through a heart attack. Completely collapse. So basically, so you can see, I have taken a very easy example, simple example, but how our mind again and again doing the same thing. So this is quite obvious example, but how are we going to do it again and again in the typical little things? So our practice is to recognize that how I am preparing this suffering. Again and again I become someone else. How mind is asking that. So you are welcoming that. So there is a request coming from the mind. I am not happy right now. I need that. I am not happy right now. I want to be with him. Or I want to be with her. I want to watch a movie. I want to look at YouTube. So that's a request coming from you, asking something. So what are you doing? You are trying to fulfill it. So you are watching it. Now, what's that? Israel, Palestine, or Hamas, boom, boom. So watching it, you're frustrated. My goodness, will they come here also? Are we going to experience the same thing? You are not here. You are fully confused. You are frustrated. You are with anxiety. Can become depressed. End up with suffering. Because here the example is a quite different one. Not a thrilling one, but still mind prefers to look at it, prefers to watch it, again and again watching news, but ultimately get depressed. Still we like it. How many people want to watch news? Even though it is, they are making you quite unhappy, feeling you quite unsafe, feeling you depressed, still you want to see it. You want to see how people are killing each other, how raping happen, how beheading happen, all the dirty things are happening, but still people want to see it. Ultimately get depressed, mentally disabled. So this is how we are going through. So you can see internally we have that demand. Internally we have a kind of a thirst. So this is the thirst of craving. So one way of looking at craving is this inner thirst. Always asking something. Like our railway department. always asking. Never working. I can't remember any day that everything happened perfectly, on time, on schedule. Every train run on time. Any day? Can't remember. Anyway, I may be pessimistic. Our mind is also like a railway department. You catch your own mind. Very much like a railway department. Even though you give that, you can't satisfy with it. It have another demand. When the drivers are being satisfied, then the workers are strike. When the workers are satisfied, then the guards are on strike. When the guards are satisfied, maybe the laborers are on strike. So when are we going to be feeling fully satisfied? So ask yourself. When are you fully satisfied in the present moment? When you don't have any desires? When you feel fulfilled? When? After your daughter get married? After your daughter have a grandchild, so you can enjoy? After you got a good job? After you pass an exam? After you leave the retreat? So are you going to get fully enlightened? So many desires are there. So when are we telling yourself, I don't need anything. I am quite happy right now. Present moment, I am fulfilled. I don't need anything. I am quite happy. Can we say like that? So with the moment that you feel that, so Buddha say you are desireless, maybe temporarily. So that is another way of releasing the mind. Say different ways of releasement or release. Different ways of what we call the vimokka mukha, the doors of the liberation. The first one is we are thoroughly recognizing the arising and passing away, the impermanent characteristic. So since you see the impermanence very thoroughly, you can't store that information in your mind because so subtle, very quick, transient. Since you can't store information, since you can't take the signs, you can't take the nimittas, you can't recognize whether it is in-breath or whether it is out-breath, whether it is the rising or it is the passing. Everything's like a flux. So there your mind get released through animitta because you can't keep a sign. So mind becomes signless. Another aspect. Say, you see the essenceless nature. internally there is no core. There is no hard, what you call hardwood. There is no any intrinsic person, intrinsic self. There is no any essence, substantial. You feel everything empty. So the mind gets released. What we call sunyata. That's another one. What's that? Appanihita. What is appanihita? Where you have no desires. Because you saw the suffering. You saw, even in the past it is suffering. Present also all these conditioned phenomena are suffering. If in the future I am getting any conditioned phenomena, any attachment, any grasping of any conditioned phenomena, still I am going to suffer. So no point of desiring any conditioned phenomena. So the mind get released. So we call it appanihita. The desireless path to the liberation. So here it is very much like that. So actually we can discuss that approach maybe tomorrow. Actually today I want to emphasize about how the grasping happens, how we create suffering, how we become someone or something. So our mind has all these two aspects. Say through our sense desire, so you want to become, you want to taste something, you want to attach to something, maybe to a sight, maybe to a sound, maybe to a smell, maybe to a taste, or maybe to some good contact. That is the sense desire. Another thing is you want to become someone. Currently, not happy. Feeling bored, not that rich enough, not that healthy enough, not that wise enough, not clever enough, not fair enough, not fat enough. What are the reasons that you are telling to you? Why you can't be happy currently, right now? What are you missing? Not fat enough? Not heavy enough? Haven't eaten enough? Not beautiful enough? Don't have enough money? What are the causes? So you can ask yourself. So we are having, every time you have some reason to tell you that I am not happy. So this is the reason. Say you are giving that, fulfilling that, you are satisfying that. Are you happy now? Then you have another reason. If I have that, I am going to be happy. So you give that. Are you happy? Still not. If I have that, I am going to be happy. So it's taking us always. So here, seeking delight. So this the characteristics of our craving is that always seeking delight. So asking delight. You're thirsty. Every time thirsty. There's a kind of a demand inside in our mind. Asking something. Assume that you fulfill that. So that is the path mentioned here. So once you fulfill that, so it have a kind of a temporary delight, kind of a happiness. Yarupe nandi, sorry. So abhinandato, abhivadato, ajjosaya tittato, ubbajjati nanti. So when you become that, or you are satisfying that, fulfilling that, you have a kind of temporary happiness based upon that fulfillment, based upon that lustful, greedy environment. So you have a certain amount of happiness. Uppajjati nandi, arise delight, and it takes you to the upadana, and you clung to that, you hold that, you don't want to lose it. I want it. This is mine. So this is my wife, this is my husband, this is my child, this is my victory, this is my country, this is my nationality. Upadana paccaya bhava, bhava paccaya jati. So you are born to that. So you are in a different world now. Remember that cricket match. You are in a different fantasy world now. And then it collapses at one moment. You can't expect it to satisfy you forever. At one moment everything collapses. You are back in or on your chair. Feeling unsatisfied, feeling bored, feeling, very much like defeated. or feeling unsatisfied. It's not going to work this way. This is not an answer. This is not going to take you to a kind of lasting happiness. This is a bait of the mara. So there are various, such glittering things. So we are trying to satisfy our things using these glittering things. Glittering, treasures. But they are not real gold. But they are glittering something. But we always are going after them, finding out, trying some happiness, but take us ultimately to a kind of a depression. Actually, yesterday someone has sent me a very interesting YouTube discussion. His name is Go Gaudat. Oh, Go Gaudat, right? Have you heard about it? So he's the CEO of the previous CBO, Chief Business Officer of Google. And it's a very interesting discussion going with another person. So he beautifully explained that, you can remember he's the CBO, Chief Business Officer of Google. And now Google is one of the world company, the world performer or the best companies. So being the CBO of that, so you can imagine about his income, you can imagine about the luxury and everything he is having. So he's telling honestly, so I had this many cars, I have my beautiful wife, I have 2 children, I have this, I have that, this many figure, this kind of, the occupation, blah, 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 everything's there, but not giving happiness. So where are we heading towards? I mean, if I am having a kind of a future goal, so I have to become a successful businessman. So he's there. Say you are imagining, I want to become a successful entrepreneur. So he's there. I have to become a successful engineer. He's there. He's an engineer. I have to become a very talented mathematician. He's there. He's a very talented mathematician. Very caliber character. You can please search in the Google. It's a very interesting article. Actually, after a long time, I found that I thank to that person, Punya Vijay Sundar, someone sent to me. Very beautiful, very attractive. And he's telling, I have all this. Whatever you guys are asking, I have everything. But not satisfied, not happy, not taking me to happiness. So he is teaching happiness entirely differently now. That's the beauty. He's teaching happiness now. Not about business, not about, promoting Google, but he's teaching happiness to us. Having gone to the best of material achievement, he's telling, okay, guys, don't be fools. I am not happy by having all this. Now I am trying to teach you happiness, but not by going this, but different way. And actually this is the first time actually, I did never know about him. Yesterday only I get to know about it. Then I search, and he has come to Sri Lanka also in last August. That I came through that also from the Google search. He has visited Sri Lanka also, and he has delivered a session, happiness through mindfulness or something. So he talks about now mindfulness and being in the present moment. They have come to this now. So top class guys, top notch guys, after reaching the best imagined achievements in the material world, they are telling this is not the path. So that's why. So here Buddha mentioned, okay, all this take you ultimately to the attachment, grasping, and ultimate to the unhappiness, frustration, end up with suffering. And we'll see tomorrow the opposite path. So where Buddha is talking about the attangama, the what we call as the passing away side. So with that note, I will conclude today's Dhamma sermon. Thank you very much for attentive listening. So we have two sharing of merits. Today's to bless Nita Dahanayaka's sister, Pearl Jayawardhana, who is seriously ill, and wish her speedy recovery. And then today's lunch dana was offered by a Daika to wish her parents good health and long life, and may all Kalalgoda yogis fulfill their Dhamma desires. So those are the two things to share merits, and I cordially invite Venerable Dhammalankara to recite the traditional verses.